rolling. And I hope the last couple of weeks have treated you well. And I think we left off with applying things to the joints and starting to relax fascia and things like that. Yeah, does that sound right? And so okay, yeah, we were applying things to the back and to the spine. So with that, does anybody have any of their experiences or would like to share or ask questions? Let's keep it to the topic at hand for right now, but we will spend a little bit of time just answering some general questions towards the end. So fire away.
Like pain related?
Yeah, like the things that we've been talking about. We're talking about neck, back, hip issues. We've been starting to unwind body tension and tension off the spine. And so does anybody have any feedback with that? Some of the people, I think we had 5 or 6 people who had either a neck or a back issue. Anybody want to share what's happened when they've gone through and done some of the process? And if there's questions about that, let's tackle those.
Hi, Greg. This is Chris. Long time no see.
I know, it's been almost 24 hours.
Yeah, we miss you already.
Yeah, me too. Seattle was great.
Yeah, so I have a lower back problem, and I had injections in those areas, and thankfully bounced back from that. But, you know, once in a while it will get tight along in the middle of my spine. But since we did
it's in the middle area?
Sometimes I'd feel it in the middle as well.
Okay.
But the actual injection site was in the lower back. I forget which L.
Yeah, right.
Maybe. So sometimes the middle would tighten up. But since we did the protocol, I feel looser, especially going up the neck, except that the jaw relieved too, you know, since we did it, but there's still that tension in the jaw.
Still some tension in the jaw. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my feedback.
Okay, great. And so one of the things with the low back is the psoas, which is the strongest hip flexor, and it's actually on the front side of the spine. So like say you even went to like a massage therapist and something, you really can't access it from the backside. You actually have to go in through the lower abdomen and wait around the organs to actually get in to touch that particular muscle. And it is, you know, in the circles of like physical therapy and stuff, they have like little nicknames of each of the muscles so you can kind of remember what problems that it has. And the psoas is known as the hidden prankster. You know, it causes so many problems. It can cause digestive issues. It can cause issues with the urinary tract. It can cause kind of pseudo appendicitis type pains. Pain will radiate down the leg. It will throw the menstrual cycle off. It will reduce urination. I mean, it does all kinds of things. And so almost everybody has some form of a psoas issue because it's a hip flexor. It's what brings the leg up. And when you are doing things, it's what stabilizes the low spine. And so even times of stress, even though you might not be putting stress on your body, your psoas tightens up to stabilize the spine. And it could be, you know, somebody's just having a conversation with you and you start to feel unstable. You could be reading the news all the time and feel unstable. And it actually will start to tighten up the hip flexor, which is known as the psoas. And so one of the things that we were going to start to address tonight is actually doing a little bit more in-depth, involved hip flexor work. And so if we can come up with ways of treating the hip flexor without having to do manual manipulation, then it's something that can be done, that can be self-treated. Because if you do go in and have that worked on by somebody who is skilled enough to do it, for one, it's hard access. And two, if they do get access, it's really super painful. I mean, it is really painful work. And so if they do it very gently, you get some relief, but for somebody to really get in and work that psoas, it can be not a very comfortable session. You know, once you're done, you feel better, but it can hurt for a little bit. And so we're trying to come up with non-invasive ways of going through and being able to treat the hip flexors. And so that was going to be the thing that we were going to build on today. So hopefully we get your back feeling even better. So here's one of the things to think about. You know, when we're talking about this for therapy, we just think of it hurts here, I want to reduce the pain. But we also have to think of the landscape of the body. And you're not going to see a lot of this kind of information when you're going through and reading about things. But basically, the head and the upper part of the neck kind of mimic what happens in the low back and the pelvis. And so a lot of times if you have an issue in one, you start to have an issue in the other. Like, for example, what would happen is somebody would get into a car accident and they would have, you know, whiplash. They would have a neck issue. And 6 months would go by, you know, the neck and maybe a little bit of a shoulder girdle would be impacted. But as that was dysfunctional, there would be a direct corresponding issue that was very chartable. You know, you could say, okay, this is the pattern that happens with this kind of injury that would happen in the low back and in the hips. And so we really want to kind of treat the body as a whole, but also treat the specifics and not get too big picture that we don't focus on the specifics, but not too specific where we don't look at the big picture. So we'll keep going back and forth with this. And a lot of people have neck, back, and hip issues. I mean, it's a very common issue for people to have. And so I'm glad you're feeling better, but after today, hopefully you'll feel even better. Anybody else?
Thank you.
We had a few people type in here. Someone said, I had some good results last week and felt good after our session. But by the next day, I went back to feeling usual symptoms of lots of tension and soreness in the hip, low back, mid back.
Hip, low back, mid back. Okay.
I think I probably just need to practice it consistently for a while.
Yeah, I mean, we are doing some we're not manipulating the body. We're going through and treating it with the plants. And so one of the things that you really want to look at is kind of trying to treat it consistently. But there's a couple of factors that we're wanting to look at. When it comes back, is it still as intense? Is it able to start to loosen up and be brought some sort of comfort on its own without having to be treated? And is the duration starting to shorten? Does it take like more to aggravate it? And does it get aggravated and goes away quicker, right? A lot of times we're not going to make it go away right off the bat, although that's what we shoot for. It's always best to be practical about it and say, okay, I have to treat this consistently for a while. You'll know that you have hit pay dirt is because you'll start forgetting that you have the issue, or you start forgetting to do treatments because you feel good. You know, pain and discomfort are usually great motivators. So anybody else?
Yeah, I did the protocol from last week every other day. I realized today that I haven't had any low back discomfort all week.
Good, 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 good.
I did the protocol and it really helped my back, but my neck is still like a big traffic jam.
Big traffic jam. And was there was there an injury, or do you sleep on your stomach? That's the other one to ask.
And you can unmute or you can type in for us.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Hi, Cindy. Will you also consider, with the psoas, the gut, brain, and anxiety in this protocol?
I mean, a lot of times if you actually relax the psoas, the anxiety goes down without even doing anything else.
There can be pain there and trauma though, right? From past? Yeah, there could be all kinds of things. There could be pain, from trauma. There could be
pain from micro traumas of movement and things like that. You know, one of the things that we were seeing that people in the financial district were having lots of psoas issues and hamstring issues. And, you know, I would ask them, you know, did they have a history of exercise, or did they have, you know, play sports when they were young or something like that? And they all, you know, some of them played a little bit, but not much. But I thought it was odd that here's something where I could consistently see psoas issues and hamstring issues, and people that were, you know, working like as a stockbroker or something from the financial realm, real super consistently. And so sometimes the traumas or stress loads are not always physical, but physical traumas and, you know, traumas from youth and things like that definitely can get held in the psoas.
Yeah.
The psoas will throw off the autonomic nervous system, which is the involuntary part of the nervous system and tied to the fight-flight mechanism and the ability to rest and repair. And so when that becomes tight or dysfunctional, like I like to just use the term tight, you know, it gets real restrictive, but what it starts to do is it starts to actually trigger the adrenals. Both the hamstrings and the psoas both will trigger increased adrenal activity. And so the more that we calm those down, the more that the anxiety will dissipate actually.
Thank you.
In answer to your last question, they said, no, I don't sleep on my stomach, but I did have a car accident in 2006, and I think it's stress writing my book.
Oh, is that Robin?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, and Robin, did you get hit from behind, from the side, or you slammed into something?
I got hit from the side.
Driver's side or passenger?
Driver's side, and I was driving.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to do some work on the psoas, and if we don't get to the neck and jaw tonight, we will next week, but I'm going to try to squeeze it all in tonight.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Could I ask if it is piriformis inflammation related with the spine? I have a client that went mad with this problem. And I might be mispronouncing it.
Piriformis. The piriformis is this big muscle. Well, it's not real super big, but it's a muscle that goes across your butt cheek. And what it does is it attaches from the sacrum, you know, your tailbone area, and it kind of runs a little bit diagonal down to the top part of the bone in your leg. And so what happens is the sciatic nerve passes in front of it. And then it also, the sciatic nerve passes through a hole in your pelvis and then goes down the leg. And so what happens is when that piriformis starts to tighten up, it puts pressure on the sciatic nerve, but pushes it up against a bone. And so the thing with the piriformis, they call it piriformis syndrome, by the way. I mean, they just call it what it is. The issue that happens is it causes a lot of inflammation, but it starts to cause a lot of issues with the immune system because the sciatic nerve is one of the few nerves in the body that has immune cells on it. And so what happens usually is the person starts to have a lot of allergies or just a weakened immune response. Doesn't handle inflammation very well. You know, it can really throw the body into a lot of chaos. And one of the things that happens is sometimes even trying to work on that muscle through manual manipulation can actually even aggravate it more because that nerve is inflamed. You start pushing on it, and it just a lot of times will aggravate the nerve even more so. And so we can go through and start trying to address this. We're going to unwind the psoas tonight. Sometimes this will also help with the piriformis, but there are some things that we go through and put on it topically to try to calm it down. I mean, just putting the antispasmodics that we did at the end of the week, into the session last week, will help reduce the tension. Anytime you put things that have like mint in it, like peppermint, corn mint, That can also be helpful because you're taking out some of the nerve pain. And one of the things that is really good for treating that area is to treat the side of the hip, kind of where the dimple in the butt cheek is off on the side. There is a little nerve that flows off of the sciatic nerve called the superior gluteal nerve. And if you can relax that down, it's a way to gently calm down that nerve without aggravating it through direct manipulation. And so we're going to play with all of that tonight with going through with energy centers. But if it's still getting aggravated, then there can be a little bit more aggressive approaches.
This is kind of, what is the purpose of an immune cell on the sciatic nerve?
Why it's there, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why it's there, but it's just one of the ones that it happened. There's a few spots in the body, but the big one is the sciatic nerve. And so, you know, they had discovered it in the mid 1800s, but they didn't call it, they didn't directly say that it had immune cells on it, but the old time osteopaths would go through and make adjustments on the head of the femur, the head of the leg bone as it went into the pelvis to treat infectious diseases. And, you know, back in the day, a lot of people were riding horses, getting thrown from horses. And so at first I thought, well, that's kind of odd. But then later, there's doctors who specialize in treating pain syndromes. In one of the big pain textbooks for physicians, it talks about how there's immune cells on the sciatic nerve, and they've done studies to try to affect the nerve pain with allergy medicines, which did nothing, but it did offset the symptoms that would come from having sciatica. You know, it didn't do anything for the pain, but it started to minimize the allergic reactions that would happen with patients who had serious or chronic sciatic issues. Anybody else?
Trigeminal nerve have immune cells, question mark?
I'd have to look that up. They usually directly correspond to sinus issues, so it is possible, but trigeminal nerve pain actually, I think, is very underdiagnosed in the US. I think it happens a lot more often, and people refer to it as sinus pain. But there is sinus pain, you know, the classic sinus pain, but sometimes when people have this really nagging sinus issue, it's actually trigeminal neuralgia.
And will this still work if you have had to have your neck fused?
Yeah, because the fusion just corrected the structural issue. The issue that is causing pain doesn't come from the bones, pain comes from soft tissue. What we're trying to address is soft tissue. So by going through and changing the soft tissue, you're changing the tendency for pain. There's actually even a term for it. When people go through and have surgeries and then the pain is still there after a fusion, there's post-surgical and then whatever the condition is. And it's because the pain comes from the soft tissue, not from the bones itself. And so like when the fusion happens, that prevents the issue from becoming more exaggerated, but it sometimes doesn't really address the pain syndrome itself. It stops it from getting worse, but if the soft tissue hasn't been rehabbed, it still is present.
And then, is there any oils people should have ready?
Let's have you get, I would prefer that you use hyssop for this, but if you don't have hyssop, Sitka or frankincense would work, but I'd really, if you can, try to pull hyssop out.
Okay, so hyssop, Sitka, what were the other factors?
Frankincense. Yeah. There are some other oils that work for this, but it's not something that most of you would have. So let's not even worry about that until later.
And yeah, any hyssop, guys.
Yeah, any hyssop will work. Cape Snowbush might work for this. In theory, it should. I haven't tried it with Cape Snowbush, but it probably would work. Okay. So let's have you just stand up and like kind of bend over and like touch your toes, and you're not really touching or checking how flexible you are. You're just trying to see the stiffness of the back. Like, you know, do a little twist, just move your low back around and just see how it feels. Also, you're measuring. Sometimes you think, oh, I don't really have an issue here. And then we do this and you go, oh, my back feels better. Maybe I had an issue here. You know, you never know. Most people do have some sort of psoas issue. Okay, so we're going to start with, does everybody have it?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so let's start inhaling. Start inhaling. And your awareness is on the groin area or the sex chakra. You're going to keep inhaling. Your awareness is on the sex chakra. Okay, just be still. Just let everything go. Just be still for a second. Okay, again, begin inhaling on the sex chakra. You're still on the sex chakra. You're taking long, slow, deep breaths. Now, going to the pelvic floor, there's an area referred to as the perineum, right? The perineum. So the perineum is directly underneath between the sex organs and the anus, just directly underneath the pelvis, right? So put your awareness down in that area and take long, slow, deep breaths. Okay, just let it go. Just be still, keep your eyes closed. Begin inhaling again. Still on the perineum. Okay, you're still inhaling. Your awareness is on the perineum. Okay, just be still. Just let it go. Just be still. Begin inhaling again, still in the floor of your pelvis, the perineum area. Move your awareness to the bottom of the tailbone, the basic chakra. Move your awareness up to the navel. Move your awareness an inch and a half below the navel. Now move your awareness to the outside of your hips. Again, where like the dimple in the butt cheek is. On each side of your hips. Move your awareness down to your knees, the front and back of the knees. Put your awareness there. On the front side, right below your kneecap. On the back side, the crease along the back side of your knee, that soft spot behind your knee. Put your awareness there. So below the kneecap on the front and on the back side, that soft spot where the crease is. Now, put your awareness on the outside of your upper thigh, just along the sides of your upper thigh, like from your knee to up to your hip, just the outer third of your leg. Okay, just be still, let everything go for a second, just be still. Keep your eyes closed, just be still. Now, go to your back solar plexus, which is your mid-back area. Take long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the back solar plexus. Okay, just let it go. Be still. Keep your eyes closed. Again, the back solar plexus, long, slow, deep breaths. Keep inhaling, but now move your awareness to the parts of your body, especially your back and hips, where you feel tension or pain. Just move your awareness to that area and just breathe into them. Okay, just be still. Okay, now we're going to cycle through and do it again. The same thing, we're going to do it over. Begin to inhale. Your awareness is on the groin area or the sex chakra. Keep inhaling. Now move your awareness down to the perineum, which is on the pelvic floor, again, between the sex organs and the anus, at the bottom of your pelvis, directly underneath. Continue to inhale on the perineum. Now move your awareness to the tailbone, the basic chakra. Keep inhaling with your awareness on the navel, or excuse me, basic, the bottom of the tailbone. Move your awareness to the navel. Keep inhaling on the navel. Move your awareness an inch and a half below the navel to the navel minor. Okay, just be still for a second. Close your eyes, just let your body relax. Begin inhaling. Your awareness are on the hips, the sides of your hips, the little area where there's a dimple in the butt cheek, that area. Put your awareness off to the side on both sides. Move your awareness to the front and back part of your knees, under the kneecap, and that soft area on the back of the knee where the crease in your knee is, where the knee bends. Now do the sides of your upper thigh, between the knee and the hip on the outside of your thigh. That outside, like third, you know. I smell smoke.
Yeah, burning sage.
Now move your awareness to the back solar plexus. Your awareness is of the back solar plexus. You're still inhaling. Okay, let everything go. Just keep your eyes closed, just be still. Begin inhaling again on the back solar plexus. Now put your awareness on a part of your body, especially in the low back or hip area, that is tight, uncomfortable, or in pain. Just be still, be aware. Now, move your body around, move your back, move your hips, bend over and see how your back is. Stand up and just move it around a little bit. Rotate your hips a little bit. What happened, please? Now this is very specific to the psoas. If there's other muscles, then we can still treat it with some of the stuff we did last week. But let's just see where some of the people are at who have some low back discomfort. Go ahead and bring it up. Anybody have questions or comments? Let's hear some reports from people.
Hi, Greg. It's Lala.
Hey, Lala. How are you?
Hey, good, thanks. Lower back feels better, but I'm a little sore from working out, from weight training. Can I do anything for hamstrings and stuff? The lower back definitely feels...
Hamstrings, were you working that, or is it just lactic acid? Like, what is that?
I was lifting weights, like, and doing, you know, deadlifts. So my hamstrings and glutes are tight, but
yeah. Yeah, sometimes what I would have people do is you could put a little bit of celery seed in an alcohol base and spray it on the skin. That sometimes helps with lactic acid, but I mean, that just sounds like pain from actually, you know, lifting. And you could use topically things that have mint in it, you know, so peppermint, corn mint, anything like that, and put it in like a little bit of massage oil or a little bit of like a massage, you know, lotion or alcohol, and then rub it on the hips and the low back. A lot of times when we'd have somebody using things for exercise, we would have them use things like black pepper and thyme and things like that, ginger, to put in an alcohol and use it like as a rub, as a warming, you know, thing to warm up with. And then afterwards, I'll have them use things that stimulate lymphatic function, you know, like the lymphatic blend or chakra root cleanser, or something anti-inflammatory. German chamomile is a perfect example. If you put like a bunch of German chamomile and alcohol, you know, shake it up and then rub it on the area, it takes a lot of the soreness out right after. But if there's a bit of pain, even with that, do the different kinds of mint so that you can kind of cool the tissue down, because when you're working out, sometimes there is a little bit of inflammation that comes from, just good, healthy exercise. That will cause a little bit of pain and a little bit of inflammation, and your body deals with it. But the more comfortable you can be, the better your body recovers. So try doing that. Yeah, I mean, you'll have to apply it directly on because of the exercise. Yeah.
Lower back feels amazing, though. Thank you so much. It feels great.
Good. So, okay. Anybody else? Anybody else want to share?
Yes, Greg. I'm Christine Darvison, and I just had a massage, and they said on the bottom of my tailbone there's supposed to be a triangular bone, and mine is missing, and I have osteoporosis. Is this possible? Because I mean, and I'm feeling, I said, I really don't have much there.
Huh. They can fuse. I mean, it is, the body is one of those things where there are anomalies that happen where muscles run in different areas, or sometimes people have an extra muscle, and sometimes people will have something extra or something left out. And so, did you ever have a really hard blow to your tailbone or anything like that?
No, I've had a lot of whiplash and blows to my mid-spine, but, and I have sciatica occasionally, and I do osteo once a month to keep me in shape. But, this is just something, they were very surprised. They said, something's missing there. So it wasn't me, it was somebody else noticed it. But I said, I thought I had a dent there, but I'm looking at the
sometimes it's called a coccyx
thing, and
right. It's called a coccyx, and sometimes it can fold inwards. And so I mean, that's always a possibility, but I mean, it is possible that you were born without it. I mean, with the body, there's always these factors of odd anomalies that happen. Yeah, it happens sometimes.
No, since I've had lifelong constipation, could that be related somehow?
No, probably not to that.
Okay.
But I would say the psoas work that we just did, a lot of times things in the low back and the mid back can definitely contribute to constipation. I would also use lemongrass, take long, so deep breaths of the lemongrass to help unwind the tension in the gut. And then, just make sure you're drinking plenty of water. And sometimes what I have people do also is take like a teaspoon of flax oil every day. It helps the joints, it helps the body, but it also helps to lubricate the digestive tract.
Is there something that I'm a celiac and that tends to give me horrible gas? I'm not socially acceptable anymore.
Oh, sure. I understand.
Is there anything as a substitute?
Let me go through and check my notes.
Thank you.
Have you tried any of the other fatty oils at all, or even taken some fish oil?
Well, I tend to get mercury very easily, so it has to be, I have to check it out,
Right.
It's real after a while. Oh dear, I can see under my tongue. It gets dark and I say, oh dear.
Okay.
Heavy metal.
Let me go through in my notes and see if there's an alternative way of doing that. Off the top of my head, I can't remember, to be honest with you. So I'll check it out in my notes.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Anybody else want to?
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
Oh, sure. I mean, my lower back does feel some better, but the SI joint does not. How much of that could possibly be like trauma memories rather than?
That's always possible. SI joint stuff, it could be anywhere in the pelvis that can actually happen. But a lot of times when there is SI joint issues, it's an imbalance of the quadricep and the hamstring. And so what happens sometimes is the pelvis will, because it's like moves a bit with walking. And when one becomes excessively, it's usually the hamstring becomes tight. and it overloads the quadricep. Although it can happen the opposite. What happens is it starts to move that side of the pelvis or rock it forward or back and then locks it into place.
Yeah, that does.
So you could do the thing that I usually do with that right off the bat is I take something like spikenard or valerian or vetiver, and I put it in like a massage oil or alcohol base and rub it on the whole thigh, you know, front and back, like front and back more important than the sides, but front and back. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to correct muscle imbalance. And when you start to correct that muscle imbalance, that allows that joint to function better. And so valerian, spikenard, and vetiver are very good for treating muscle imbalances and allowing the muscles to start, like, they work in opposition to each other and with each other, right? And so if the hamstring tightens up more, the quadricep gets overloaded and at some point just starts to kind of shut down and, you know, it doesn't have quite the strength. And so this can also happen if there's been inflammation in one of the areas, because they counterbalance each other. If something loses some tone, the other one goes into a spasm. And so the spikenard, the valerian, and the vetiver all are very sedating, relaxing to the muscle tissue. They relax both sides and they allow the muscle imbalance to begin to self-correct. And so you can treat the area where there's pain in the SI joint, but it's usually tied more to the front and the back of the thigh. And it's usually on the same side, by the way. Like you can still treat both sides, but it's usually the side that you're having the SI joint issue. If you're having it on both, then, you know, it's both legs.
Yes. I think a lot of people who are short like I am, they don't sit correctly. Mm-hmm. Because chairs are too, and that happens a lot to us.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. So if you have those oils, just, you know, like put them in, you know, you can even put them in your seaweed base and then rub them on the area, and then do that. And after a couple applications, it should start to self-correct. In the early days, a variation that I would do is those oils with some myrrh. And the myrrh hits the opioid receptors. And so it takes off some of the pain and allows for a deeper relaxation of the muscle, the skeletal muscle. And so, you know, you can just play with some variations of that when you're going through and trying to treat that.
Okay, sounds fun. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, you bet. Somebody else like to share? Okay, so let's go through and do the next thing where we're going to actually release and relax the fascia in the body. So fascia surrounds the muscle, but if the fascia is tight and we're trying to relax muscles, if they don't have the space to be able to relax, then they can only relax, you know, with the amount of space that they have. So we're trying to relax the soft tissue that surrounds the muscle tissue, and then it also surrounds bundles of muscle fibers within the muscle, and then each individual muscle fiber, and then eventually helps turn things into tendons, right? So by going through and doing this next phase, it should be also contributing to your overall health, be it a neck, back, hip, because we're going to try to shoot for this for the whole body, right? So we're looking for the premium one to use here is Cape Snowbush. If you don't have Cape Snowbush, your next best choice is probably mugwort or artemisia, or you could also use myrrh. But Cape Snowbush is by far the best.
Did you say fir?
No.
Sorry, the last one.
Myrrh.
Myrrh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, does everybody have at least one of those? Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so begin to inhale. Begin to inhale. Your awareness is between your eyebrows. Keep your eyes closed. Move your awareness from the area between your eyebrows, the ajna, to your throat, the center of your throat. Keep inhaling. Now you're dropping from your throat down to the little notch between the two collarbones right here, the throat minor. Keep inhaling on the throat minor. Now go up to the area just below your cheekbones, right here, directly under your eyes and your cheekbones. Go to your jaws. Right in front of the ear canal, where the jaw hinges, your jaws. Now, go to the area on the back side, the back heart, the area between your shoulder blades. From there, just kind of move your attention and awareness into the lungs. Take long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the lungs. Long, slow, deep breaths. Go to your front solar plexus, the area below your ribs, on the upper part of your abdomen. Long, slow, deep breath. Move your awareness to the back solar plexus, which is your mid-back area on the back side. Okay, just be still, be aware, just let everything go. Keep your eyes closed for a second. Begin to inhale. Your awareness is on your armpits. Move your awareness to your elbows, where the crease is on the elbow, where the joint bends. Move your awareness to the wrist, the front and the back of the wrist. The palms of your hands. Okay, just let go for a moment. Close your eyes, just let it go. Notice your body, notice your breath, notice your thoughts. Now, begin to inhale again. Your awareness is on the sides of your hips, where that dimple in the butt cheek is. Go to the knees, the front and back of the knees, again, under the kneecaps, and that area where there's the crease in your leg where it bends on the back side. Go down to your ankles, on the front side of your leg, right where the crease is. The soles of your feet. Just let go. Let go of everything. Keep your eyes closed. Just let go. Maintain your stillness. Okay, last part. Begin to inhale. Your awareness is on the groin area, the sex chakra. Move your awareness to the front heart. Move your awareness to your throat. Move your awareness to the top of your head. Your awareness is on the top of your head. Just let go. Let go of everything. Okay, let's have you stand up and just move your body around. Kind of stretch it a little bit, rotate your hips a little bit, bend side to side. Okay, let's have some feedback. How do you feel?
Hi, Greg. This is Chris. My neck and jaw really loosened up. So thank you so
good.
much.
Yeah, good. So, and here's the great thing is, I mean, that brings it up like point blank is, you know, we want to treat things specifically, but we don't always have the whole picture of what's going on. And fascia is the perfect example. The fascia, think of it like this. Think of it as this connective tissue that goes through your whole body, and it's just one big sheet. It's like somebody took a big giant tissue paper, crammed it down, and then made like a stick person out of it. And the one that's at your bottom of your foot goes all the way up to the stuff that's in your head. And so it holds all the organs in place. It gives your body shape. It, you know, it does all these things. And when you open it up, for one, the nerves are able to flow better. Blood and lymph move through the body much easier. But sometimes, like the jaw is a perfect example. By the time the tension hits the jaws, it can be coming from a lot of other areas in the body that are having all these slight misalignments. And as you relax this fascia, you'll notice that these areas that you didn't even really focus on begin to unwind because you've taken in the whole picture. Then when you go to do something very specific, it's significantly more effective because you've gone big and done the whole body, and then you can go specific. But when you try to do non-specific and not treat anything, or just focus on symptoms and not look at the whole picture, the treatment usually doesn't last very long, and it's, you know, it can still be effective, but a lot of times it's minimally effective. But when you take in the whole body like this, then you start to go and spot treat, you usually get much longer lasting results. And so, you know, we weren't trying to do a neck treatment or a jaw treatment or a low back treatment. We were trying to do a body treatment. We're trying to just unwind the whole body. So this unwound the fascia by working the sinus pattern. Then we unwound the arms and the legs. When you unwind the arms and the legs, this improves circulation through the whole body, especially to the brain. Right? So a lot of times in psychology, there's this thing called dissociation. Dissociation can happen due to psychological issues, but its biological component is poor circulation in the arms and the legs. In Chinese medicine, how they treat dissociation is they actually open up the arms and legs. In energy medicine, when we were treating people with multiple personality disorder, we spent a ton of time cleaning the arms and the legs and opening up circulation to that. We were one of the few people that we had actually 9 cases where the diagnosis of multiple personality disorder, now they call it dissociative identity disorder, the psychiatrist lifted the diagnosis. All these people had been diagnosed for more than 10 years, and they were in treatment with their psychiatrist all 10 years. You know, some of them were 12, 15 years. It's considered an uncurable condition. And part of how we did that is doing what we just did. It helps you spiritually, it helps you to be more present. When you open up the fascia, you're opening up the ability for energy to radiate out and more energy to come in this way, but also this way, right? More divine energy can come in because it's more easily displaced at this point. So it becomes part of a physical, a psychological, and a spiritual reason why to do what we just did. Very, very important. Anybody else have anything?
Hey, Greg.
Hey.
Hey, it's Dawn Mamoni. Hey, so obviously I need a lot of help with fascia from top to bottom. And
yeah,
this would
you and everybody else.
This would be a great protocol. The challenge is I don't have Cape Snowbush. Usually mugwort and artemisia like overstimulate me, but I thought I would try it anyway.
Okay.
So it did. So like I literally feel like I did 4 espresso shots right now. I'm pouring sweat. I don't know if my diaphragm's in spasm, but I just feel like
your mingmen's a little overactivated. Let me just inhibit it for you just to keep you out of crisis. So
okay.
Hold on.
Thank you.
How's that starting to feel?
I think it's minimizing. My body's still pulsing everywhere, but I think I feel better.
Let me get this a little bit more inhibited, and then afterwards, just kind of move around a little bit.
Okay.
Your body, on the good side, your body assimilates energy very easily. On the bad side, it assimilates energy very easily.
Exactly.
And so, and so it gets overwhelmed and overstimulated a little bit.
Yes, it does.
Happening. Yeah.
So what would be a solution? Because like, would I do this protocol and then is there something else I can do? Or because I'd like to be able to use those oils.
Right. Cape Snowbush is a little bit more soothing. You could use myrrh, but one of the things is you also have this issue with other things, you know, and so one of the ways that you can try to minimize it is, I would do this very sparingly, but you know, did you ever have the sleep class or the state of oneness class?
I did the sleep class. Oh wait.
Okay, so
I don't know.
Okay, you remember?
I have sleep protocols, so I think I did that one.
Okay, so you remember the Tarragon technique?
Yes.
Yeah, do the Tarragon technique.
Okay, and it's funny because I actually just emailed you guys today. I just ran out of Tarragon. I can't even find the bottle. Is there another substitute for Tarragon?
Benzoin would work. If you don't have benzoin, like the things that smell like black licorice, like anise and fennel, Tarragon's the best out of them. But if you don't have those, try vetiver. Do you have vetiver?
Okay. I do. I love vetiver.
Okay, do it with vetiver.
Okay, so I'm doing this, now I forget what, I'm doing this after I go through this?
No, I would actually just do that several times. That should actually help you regulate the rate that things come in. And even if a lot comes in, part of what happens is the thalamus is getting overstimulated. And so it's a way to calm down the thalamus so that you can just allow things in and out and it's not overstimulating to the nervous system. Because that's what's happening. Your sensory nerves are getting overactivated.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're not doing anything wrong. It's just the thalamus sometimes gets agitated, and then no matter what, I mean, you could do all the things that you know how to do, but if that's overstimulated or agitated, it's just, you know, you can only go so far. So you have to go through and calm down the thalamus.
Okay, would I do that? I was doing it every night before bed. Should I do it multiple times a day? I mean, because I'm really sensitive to energy and I do get overstimulated.
You could start doing it like a little bit at the middle to late in the day, and then at the end of the night, really go deep with it.
Okay. So just don't use mugwort or artemisia until this calms down.
Until this calms down. You know, because they do open up the channels, and so you're allowing more energy to flow through, and it's probably just too much.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And the thing is, the thalamus can get overstimulated by all kinds of things. One of the things is just if your lymphatic system got congested, it could get overstimulated by a bad cold or flu. I mean, it's as simple as that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've been getting overstimulated my whole life. So
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I have time for like 1 or 2 more questions, and then I got to roll into another meeting on the West Coast. So I'm sorry, but I can still do 1 or 2 more.
Christine, did you have a question or wanted to share something?
I just wondered, can I give you my email and you can get back to me on another oil rather than flax?
Oh, shoot me an email, because by the time I'm done with that other meeting, I will completely forget. So shoot me an email so I have a record of it, and I'll try to find it.
What email is the best to use for you?
plantpranacalendar@gmail.com.
And I'm typing it in the chat right now for you there, Christine.
Thank you.
Okay,
You are welcome.
You bet. And remind me what we were talking about.
In the email.
Yeah, in the email. Just one sentence I'll remember.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Christine.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Another question?
Just someone, it might be a little too much, but like, would this be a different, good for head congestion, nasal congestion? Would that be another day?
Nasal congestion, I would actually switch over to rosemary verbenan. You could use basil. Is it runny, or is it like thick and you can't get it to clear out of your nose? Like, can they say?
Yeah, you can unmute yourself, or you can type in if you want. It's thick.
It's thick. You know, when you need to get mucus to start running, what I usually do, like if it's like just like really thick and stagnant, part of it is there's starting to be, because of the thickness of mucus, you're starting to have poor circulation in the mucous membrane, right? Rosemary can help. So first thing you can try is rosemary. But one of my kind of go-to things with this is I like to use black pepper. And I usually have the same pattern that we started off with, where we did the ajna, the throat minor, the cheekbones. Even just inhaling the black pepper in through the nostrils will start to increase circulation on the mucous membranes and allow the mucus to start to come out, so that you can blow your nose or just have it run out, because you got to get it out, right? That will, if you don't, it's not only is it causing your neck to tighten up and your diaphragm to tighten up, but it is a breeding place for bacteria, right? Like anytime you have a lot of mucus, it's prime ground for bacterial growth. And so I usually do black pepper first, and then follow it up with one of the eucalyptuses. Nothing that smells like lemon, but all the other ones will work. Just the non-lemony eucalyptuses. So globulus, radiata, polybroct, smithy, McCarthy, the red gum eucalyptus. Did I cover them all? Deaves, eucalyptus Deaves. And so any of those will help the mucus to run. They're expelling in nature, which means it helps to move mucus out or break down mucus. If you're really having a problem, we do have things that are stronger they call them a mucolytic. They break down mucus. And it's ironic that you're asking about it. I was ordering the oil for the wintertime coming up. Usually we try to stock it during the wintertime, but it's called Anula. And it's one of the best things for breaking down mucus. It's a little bit pricey, but I'm trying to find it at a better price. I usually don't recommend it right off the bat unless somebody has a really serious problem, but usually around here, we just put it in some of the blends. And so if you do need the strongest thing to use, email us and we can get it out to you. I don't think it's actually even on the website. It's usually just something that when people email us, we send it out. But if we're able to locate it and get it in for the wintertime, we'll post it up on the website for you guys. I should hear back by tomorrow.
Just one more real quick. Does Kegel exercises help with toning and strengthening the psoas, perineum, that piriformis?
Piriformis. It doesn't necessarily help the piriformis and the psoas. I mean, it is good for the pelvic floor, but the problem with Kegel exercises is don't do like tons and tons and tons of them, because it's also very activating to the lower centers. And you can cause overheating in the body, and you could cause energetic imbalance. So if you do them like no more than like 50 at a time, like every once in a while you could do more, but 50 at a time is usually pretty good.
Does it increase Kundalini energy?
It increases the amount that kind of goes up. I mean, it just basically activates the lower centers. It can be good for men for the prostate, and for women for some of the female organs. But again, don't overdo. Just do it in moderation. So, okay, you guys, I apologize, but I have to step out, and I have a hard out and a hard start in this next meeting. And so I hope this was helpful, and we're going to tackle some more on this topic, and then start going into some other topics next week. Now, I hope some of you are able to join me tomorrow at the free study group for Astara. It's the first one that we are doing from Astara, and it's going to be a lot of practical applications of, you know, like prayer, mantra, breathing techniques, things like that. So it's not like a study group where we're just sitting and talking about things out of the book. We're going to go right into techniques and contemplations and things like that. So a bit more on the esoteric side. So if you can join, let us know. You can sign up at astara.org and get the link, or we can also send the link out to you from...
I just put the link on the chat just now.
So Samantha put the link on, so you guys can just join directly from there. But let us know, because we have to send the link out through Zoom, just like here. But it will go to Astara. So.